My guests on the Culture Crawl today are from the Revival Theater Company, a new theater company in eastern Iowa. They have an upcoming production called Dogfight. Brian Glick and Cameron Sullenberger. Gentlemen, thanks for being here today.
Thanks for having us.
Now, before we talk specifically about Dogfight, Revival Theater is a brand new company, and this is its first season. Cameron, tell us just a little bit about how it got started.
We were having dinner one night, and we were talking about all the talent that shows up for auditions. For one audition that we knew about here in town, there were about 200 people showed up. They only had 10 spots. That kind of got us talking. We thought, you know what, there are that many people that want to explore their talents on the stage. We should bring our talents together and create another opportunity for those performers. And so we did. We came up with a name. We got a board together. We have a strong board. We look back, a year ago? We've done a lot in a year. Yeah, literally a year about this time. And now we're a bona fide company.
And, of course, talking about musical theater, you do shows, you do new shows and maybe shows that people haven't seen before.
Right.
So you're doing different stuff.
We have a kind of a formula that we follow, and we're very proud of it. The first one is we like to do a children's production every year. That might involve adults or may not, but we believe in that educational arm. The second one is we like to do shows that either have left off Broadway or Broadway, or maybe they're unknown, or maybe people forgot about them, kind of rare gems. We call them rare gems. And then the third one is we like to do classical productions that people don't do anymore, like the big Hello Dollies or, Showboat. And I think that kind of covers everything. And that's kind of how we got the name. We're really reviving great shows.
Well, Dogfight is the upcoming production, and that is one that is fairly new, or certainly new in the Midwest, because it's a Midwest premiere, right?
Yeah, Dogfight was done off-Broadway about 2 years ago, and then just in the last 6 months released for licensing for companies to do. And we were able to snatch it right away, and we are the Midwest premiere. And we've had some great opportunities and rare opportunities with this production. One, having the opportunity to speak to the composer and lyricist, which we had the opportunity to do the other night with the cast, and Cameron and I, and that was cool to talk to them and ask them questions about the piece and sort of their whole process in creating it, and so yeah, it's been exciting, certainly to be doing a new piece, but it's also exciting because it's such a great story and the music's beautiful, and so it fits our contemporary time slot of doing something rare and unknown and edgy and thought-provoking. So, yeah, it's exciting.
Tell me a little bit about the plot.
Dogfight starts off in 1968 in the present time, and then jumps immediately back to 1963. And the show essentially takes place in one evening and follows a group of Marines who are stateside, and the next day are getting ready to deploy to Southeast Asia, to a little war that we all know as Vietnam. And one of the things that the Marines would do, and it actually was a tradition, was hold a dogfight where they have to find the ugliest girl, bring her to the party, and whoever wins the highest score of having the ugliest date wins the prize money.
The kind of thing that would get you shamed on Facebook for the rest of your life.
Absolutely. I think when people see it, they go, oh, yeah,
Perfect premise for a musical.
Absolutely. Through that development, we follow the rest of the story. Eddie Bird-Lace and Rose Fenney, and their sort of relationship that is discovered through that party, and that carries us through all the way to 1968, to basically the whole show. And so there's a heavy focus on the conflict and how these boys really didn't have any idea of what they were getting themselves into. Also, as a country, we didn't know. And then also follows their love story, Rose and Eddie. So it has two very specific points of views when you watch it, and that affect, I think, everybody who comes. And I think the thing that's interesting is certainly an older audience is going to have an interesting viewpoint on it that grew up in that era, but also in terms of just the contemporary and sort of rock feel of the score, that's also going to attract, we hope, a younger audience to the show.
Well, and of course, our veterans are young now.
Absolutely, absolutely. So that's absolutely, we've had many discussions about that it has kind of it's very relevant. It has an interesting point of view for those who've are currently fighting, have fought in the last 10 years with the war. So.
Tell me a little bit about the music. It's got to be a little bit of a challenge putting up a show with songs that no one has ever heard before.
Yes.
And no matter how beautiful and pretty they are, you really are introducing them to people for the first time, and they just have no context.
Yeah, I think
does that make it more challenging?
It does a little bit. I think with this show, what was great is that the CD made a huge splash. The CD came out, and people saw the cover and thought, "What is this? It's just like a comedy album." Not a lot of people gave it a lot of attention at first. A friend of mine from New York said, "You need to check this out." I got it, and I couldn't stop listening to it. And then I called Brian immediately and said, "You've got to listen to this." The music now has infiltrated YouTube. And so every music theater program in the United States, this is in their top 5 right now. It's the biggest music.
So it is actually very familiar to a lot of people.
Familiar to a lot of people, but you'd have to be in the music theater world to really know what it is. I think to the general public, they're not going to know what it is. It's not The Sound of Music. But I think in the next 5-6 years, I think everybody's going to know it. I really do. It's a mixture of pop rock, 60s. It's a beautiful musical crafted from a movie where the characters are singing their thoughts. Because in a film, you can do a close-up, you can edit, you can do montages. On the stage, in a musical, you have to communicate the emotions through words and through music and through chords. And so they've done a beautiful job of that. It's wonderful to see a 40-plus year historical event that Americans all know about, filtered through the minds and the artistic talents of 20-some-odd-year-olds. Because this composing team is, I don't even think they're 25 or 26.
They're
really young. So it's fresh, it's vibrant, it grabs you, and it's pretty heavy. And funny.
And funny, absolutely, absolutely.
Well, a good musical, a good stage production is all of those.
Yes,
Right.
absolutely.
It makes you laugh, it makes you uncomfortable, it makes you sad, it fills you with a lot of emotion. That's the point of
Yeah,
theater.
that's what we want. Yeah.
The upcoming production at Revival Theater Company is Dogfight, and you go up the 23rd?
Correct.
Okay.
Through the 26th.
23rd through the 26th, so one weekend, and you're at Legion Arts at CSPS, correct?
Yes. Yep. And we have 8 o'clock shows, and then the matinees at 2:30.
Okay, so one weekend to catch it. If people want tickets, where do
They
they
can
go?
do it 2 ways. They can go to our website, which is revivaltheatercompany.com, and go to our ticket page, and that link will take you directly to the CSPS Legion Arts website, or you could just go to their homepage, legionarts.org, I believe, and buy the tickets there. So.
Or you can buy them at the door, but they're $5 more.
Absolutely.
And of course, if people want to know anything more about you guys or more background on the show, they can go to your site, and again, that is
revivaltheatercompany.com. And our Facebook page is also very active. That's another great resource under the same name. So
Theater with an R-E.
that's
Okay.
right.
All right. Cameron and Brian from Revival Theater Company. Well, good luck with this, and
Thank you.
come back in a couple of months, and we'll talk about the next production up in the season.
Thank
Yeah,
you
that's
so
right.
much.
Thank you.